open, referring to the fact that the device works on NFC and different technologies. Why do you assume that QR will overcome other available technologies like NFC, for example? Or what is important is the actual penetration of the QR service or the payment method rather than the actual technology that is being used to massify payments? You feel that QR will win, so to speak. What do you think?
I think the QR is the future of the payment. One of the reasons is I think for the bank card payment system is based on the last generation industry. I think the QR is based on the online payment industry. So for the QR payment, it's lower cost and it can encourage more of the population. And also it's more safe for the online payment. And furthermore, the QR payment, they can combine more and more value-added service. And all the data will collect by the payment industry and the financial institutes. So based on that data, they can provide based on customized service for more customized service, financial service for every consumer. So it's not only the two, not only the payment method change. I think that will cause the whole industry change.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. I'm going to read a question from the audience now. Perhaps everybody can provide us their feedback. This is what is on the chat. I totally agree that QR code is the trend, but in Latin America, card payments are still dominating the market. What do you think we should do to make the customers use more often the QR technology payment? What efforts have you made to tailor to this specific market in Latin America, besides this wonderful launch event?
So maybe, do you want me to answer on this? Okay.
Sure.
So guys, QR is just a payment method. Whether it's a credit card or a debit card, you can still link it with a QR. One of the most important thing where I see is that the regulations have to open out and come out with new infrastructure on the interoperability of QR. Because there are various service providers, there are various QRs, and there are various, card payments also available in the market. Unless and until there is not a single infrastructure which is interoperable, as well as linking of bank cards with QR facilities are provided by the service provider, I think so such a move will actually encourage more of QR payments, because QR is a part of card not present. And that is where we see that, QR can be a game changer, but there is a lot of, push required from the regulations themselves.
Thank you. Thank you, Mahaveer. This is a question for Silvana from Mercado Libre. What is your company's position about integrating to third-party networks or having access to merchants through integrators and interoperability?
Okay, so it's a little bit as Mahaveer said, right? I believe that interoperability is part of the, when you try to speak about QR, it always comes this word into the game. And I believe it's part of the regulation, right? It's a case by case depending on each country. Our main ones, just such as Argentina or Brazil, for instance, we are working side by side with the regulators and other fintechs and other financial institutions to design how is it going to work, this interoperability, right? What does it mean? In each country, it means a different thing. In Brazil, for instance, the regulators are developing this solution that it's called PIX, P-I-X, and it's I don't know, it's something similar to debit card, but it's a way to pay via QR code, and you're paying with that. So it's part of this interoperability. It's a way of interoperability. And in Argentina, it's been discussed another thing. Probably it's going to take a little bit of PIX too, but the central bank here in Argentina is what it did is a standard QR code. So for instance, if you go to one merchant, such as YPF, You can scan that QR that is one for all, and each player has to have the ability to read that QR. With that QR, you can scan with for Todo Pago, Mercado Pago, or the YPF application. So it's a country by country, right? But we're open for that. It's part of the game.
So, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Lee. Do you want to add to that?
No.
Okay. Well, okay. So Silvana, during your presentation, you kept referring to the use of QR technology as a revolution. You used that to describe the technology a few times.
Yes.
Despite there are some regulatory issues still that need to be resolved, why do you call it a revolution, and what is the time frame that you feel that the industry needs in order to really, really become a revolution?
Okay, so I believe the revolution for me is, I think I also use a lot of the small merchants, right? That are my favorite ones. Those merchants here in Latin America, it's really difficult for those merchants to actually accept and collect money with credit card, debit card, or digital money, right? So we have in Latin America a lot of cash. 70% of the payments are in cash. As we know, that's really inefficient, right? Like the cost of having the money with you, safety, and now, of course, health with all the COVID situation that makes us aware of what we're doing, like touching that money, that paper, and giving to another one. That's a circle of not health. And for me, that the merchant can actually collect money with, for instance, the MPOS of Wiseasy or RMPOS or QR, for me, that's the revolution, that really small merchants in Latin America can collect money with credit. That's a thing that it help them with sales, right? And not everyone have cash in their money in their pockets to pay in that moment. You have the credit card, and I believe that's part. And what it helps is this digitalization of the market. We work together with credit cards, of course, on the payer side, but you can also have money. That money that you are collecting, it's going to stay in your wallet, and you can pay with that money, that digital money, to another merchant. So you start to digitalize all this cash thing in Argentina. 70% of the payments in Latin America are in cash. It changes a little bit by country, but that's the main rule, right? Cash. So to give an alternative to cash, I believe that's a revolution here in Argentina, in Latin America. Sorry.
Yes, I'm very agree with Silvana. So I think the QR code in the technology is a real revolution. I think in this world, 1.7 billion people population, they are underbanked. It's just like Silvana, she said, many people in Latin America, they not open account, they have no bank cards, but they have mobile phone. And 2/3 of all this population underbanked, they have mobile phone, and many of them have smartphone. So the QR code payment is one of very good technology for the inclusive finance. They just download the application for mobile wallet. They deposit money in this mobile wallet. They just like open account in a bank. So we can use this technology to help a lot of poor people. If they open a bank account, they have a mobile wallet. They can get more and more financial service. That can make a lot of things possible for these people.